They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own factories and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that.
The luxury world is officially in panic mode. And for the first time in a very long time, the curtain is being ripped all the way back. Because the brand that built its entire empire on exclusivity, craftsmanship, and old world prestige is now fighting for its reputation in real time. And at the center of it all is Hermes. For decades, Hermes has sold the fantasy, not just bags, mythology. The idea that every Birkin and Kelly is born in a quiet French atelier, stitched by a master artisan who trained for years, guided only by muscle memory and tradition. White coats, perfect lighting, leather handled like sacred material.
Some of Hermes products are made in China. Towels are from Fuzhou in Shandong. They also make products for Chanel and IKEA. Beddings are from Yue in Shandong. Men's shoes are from Shachi in Shandong. Tableware are from Gaochun in Jiangsu.
That's the image people paid for when they dropped $20, $30, even $60,000 on a bag. But now that image is cracking. Because Chinese manufacturers, not random knockoff sellers, but factories with real contracts, have started talking. And they aren't whispering. They're posting videos, showing production floors, sharing receipts, walking viewers step by step through how these French luxury bags are actually made.
Made in Italy, made in China, or maybe made in Chile. Oh yeah, that should be a thing, by the way, because some brands get real creative when it comes to made in Italy.
And Hermes is furious, not because the factories lied, but because they told the truth. What's coming out is ugly for luxury. According to multiple insiders and industry experts, a massive portion of Hermes bags are produced overseas. Not just parts, not just materials. The leather cutting, the stitching, the shaping, the hard labor that actually builds the bag, all done in China. Then shipped to Europe for finishing touches. A button here, a stamp there, just enough to legally slap Made in France on the label. That's the trick.
Our artisans, they need to do 4 years of training to be able to manufacture a Kelly bag. This that you've just seen, the perlage, you need to be very skilled and very, very good.
She put the finishing touches on a Kelly, the most difficult bag to build. It starts with 30 distinct cuts of leather and can take 20 hours to complete, 4 hours for just the handle. There are no manuals or cheat sheets. Artisans rely on their training and muscle memory to make every bag.
It was my first time shopping at Hermes, and let me tell you how it went.
We got a lot of requests, do Hermes next. And that's why we're here in the Highland Park Mall.
And once that trick went viral, the illusion started collapsing fast. Luxury watchdogs and leather experts began breaking it down publicly. One well-known leather specialist, famous for buying designer bags and literally cutting them open on camera, showed that the materials inside some of these 5-figure bags are no better than mid-range products. Not magical leather, not rare craftsmanship, just well-marketed construction. He even exposed the numbers.
I have spent over $100,000 of my own money dissecting luxury bags, cutting them open, analyzing every stitch, every layer. Why? Because I had to know what made those bags so expensive.
So Hermes has put out a response to China, and they have like a video in a factory sort of showing people trying to show that they're actually the ones who are making the bags in a factory somewhere in France.
Who is the Chinese supplier behind product? Bags are from Siton Handbag in Dongguan City, Guangdong Province. It's a factory specializing in handbags for 54 years, and it produces 80% of the world luxury bags.
According to his breakdowns, the actual cost to make a Birkin, including high-quality leather and hardware, sits closer to a few $100s, not thousands, hundreds. Everything after that, branding, scarcity tactics, and celebrity placement.
This is pretty much where I keep all my purses. This one here is really special. If my house is on fire, I would take this one out of all of them.
Nothing is as humbling as your daughter drawing on your $60,000 Birkin, am I right?
Child. I couldn't even be mad at her because when I asked her, I was like, I wanted to see if she was gonna tell me the truth. I was like, Coach, did you draw on mommy's purse?
Literally spent $60,000 on this purse. Look what my daughter did to my purse.
That's when Hermes lost control of the narrative. Because Chinese factories weren't just admitting they made bags, They were explaining how. They revealed that bags often arrive in France nearly complete. Hermès facilities then finalize minor details, add logos, package them beautifully, and sell them for markups that would make any investor proud.
He started making his boots in China, and that is these boots right here. This is pretty much the UGG boot that like most Americans will have in their house. I was very pissed off when I found out the truth because I grew up in Southern California. I remember being in elementary school when I would only see 2 people in the entire school wearing UGG boots, and they were always the cool surfer kids.
Most of those bags I cut open, just expensive, nothing special. But it feels truly exceptional.
Unbox my latest Hermes bag with me. This is my first bag I got this year. I usually get 1 bag a year, and this is the one for this year. And I'm really excited about it.
So what does Hermès do when the truth spreads? They sue. Reports say Hermès has launched legal action against multiple Chinese manufacturers, accusing them of misusing intellectual property and damaging the brand. In plain terms, Hermès is trying to silence the people who exposed the system they benefited from for years. But here's the problem. The math doesn't lie. Hermès reported over $15 billion in revenue last year. Millions of luxury items sold. Now ask yourself, if each bag truly took days of hand labor in France, where is this massive workforce of French artisans producing them at this scale? The numbers don't add up. They never did.
You know, you walk into Hermes and say, hey, I want to buy one of these. You know what they say to you? No, we don't have them. First of all, you have to be Hermes customers. You have to demonstrate that you like the brand. And then you can only buy 1 per year.
I've been speaking to this client here regarding selling her Birkin 30 Gris Etane, if I'm not wrong. Gris Etane is the color, and it's palladium hardware. The bag is in box fresh condition, but it's SUES stamp, which means it's a 2021 piece.
Kendall Jenner is wearing a fake Louis Vuitton fanny pack, and she didn't know it. I'm gonna give you 3 reasons why I know that this Louis Vuitton bag is fake.
People just didn't ask questions because the fantasy was too pretty. And Hermès isn't alone. Other luxury houses have been caught doing the same thing. Producing most of the product in China, then completing a tiny portion in Europe to legally justify a prestige label. It's a loophole that's been exploited for years, and now consumers are finally paying attention. That's why resale markets are starting to shake. Collectors are nervous, resellers are sweating. Because if a $25,000 bag comes from the same factory as a $400 dupe, exclusivity stops feeling exclusive. And when exclusivity dies, luxury loses its power. The most uncomfortable truth? China doesn't mean low quality anymore. Modern Chinese factories are some of the most advanced in the world. They produce goods for luxury brands, mid-range brands, and yes, dupes, often in the same facilities. The difference isn't craftsmanship, it's logos, marketing, and who's telling the story. And Hermès built an empire on controlling that story. Now that the factories are talking, Hermès is scrambling. Lawsuits, PR statements, carefully curated factory videos meant to reassure customers. But the internet isn't buying it anymore. Once people see behind the curtain, they don't forget. Because this isn't just about bags. It's about realizing you weren't paying for leather or labor. You were paying for belief. And once belief cracks, everything else starts falling with it. And the question nobody at Hermès wants answered is simple. If the illusion is gone, what exactly are they still selling? Once that illusion starts cracking, the fallout spreads fast. And not just among casual shoppers. The people who feel this first are the ones who built their identity around luxury. Collectors, resellers, influencers, stylists. The entire ecosystem that thrives on the idea that these bags are rare, sacred objects suddenly has to face a terrifying possibility. What if they never were? Because as more receipts surface, it becomes harder to pretend this is just internet noise. Multiple factories in China have stepped forward, explaining how luxury production really works. Not knockoffs, not replicas, the real supply chain. They talk about years-long contracts, strict quality control, and entire production lines dedicated to high-end European brands. And the story they tell is consistent. Most of the bag is made overseas. The leather is cut overseas. The stitching is done overseas. The shape is built overseas. Then the nearly finished bag gets shipped to Europe, where final touches are added just enough to satisfy legal labeling rules. A stamp, a clasp, sometimes just packaging. That's it. Suddenly, made in France doesn't mean what customers thought it meant. And that's why Hermès went straight to legal warfare instead of public transparency. Because admitting this openly would do more damage than any lawsuit ever could. The brand isn't just protecting intellectual property. It's protecting the myth that justifies a $20,000 price tag. But the internet isn't patient anymore. Leather experts start posting breakdowns. Craftsmen compare stitching patterns. Materials get analyzed under microscopes. People realize the leather inside some luxury bags isn't rare at all. It's mass-produced, coated, and treated in ways that make it durable, not divine. Good quality? Sure. Magical? Absolutely not. And the cost breakdowns shake people to their core. When experts explain that the raw materials and labor for a Birkin-level bag might cost a few $100s, collectors feel played. Because scarcity doesn't come from craftsmanship anymore. It comes from gatekeeping. You're not paying for difficulty. You're paying for permission. Permission to be seen holding it. Permission to feel elevated. Permission to belong to a club that's carefully curated. That's where the Birkin purchase history trap comes into focus. You can't just walk in and buy one. You have to prove loyalty. Spend thousands on scarves, belts, shoes, items with huge margins, just to be offered the chance to buy the bag you actually want. It's not luxury retail. It's psychological conditioning. And now that people are realizing the product itself isn't as rare as the brand claims, that conditioning feels manipulative. This is also where resale markets start wobbling. For years, Birkins and Kellys were treated like investment assets. People flipped them like real estate. Prices climbed. Demand skyrocketed. But once the manufacturing truth starts circulating, buyers hesitate. If the craftsmanship story collapses, so does the justification for inflated resale values. Resellers quietly admit prices are softening. Inventory isn't moving like it used to. Collectors are waiting instead of bidding, because once people realize exclusivity is engineered, not earned, the urgency disappears. And then there's the celebrity factor. Luxury brands didn't build this illusion alone. Celebrities carried it, influencers amplified it, stylists pushed it. A single photo of a celebrity with a Birkin could spark thousands of purchases overnight. But now people are questioning everything. Did they buy it? Was it gifted? Is it even real? Insiders have been saying for years that many celebs don't care whether a bag is authentic. The look is what matters. Stylists allegedly mix real pieces with dupes all the time. As long as the logo is visible, the illusion holds. And brands don't mind, because the image sells either way. So when fans realize they paid tens of thousands chasing a look that even celebrities fake casually, the resentment grows. This scandal also forces a bigger conversation the luxury industry has avoided for decades. China doesn't mean low quality. It means efficiency, scale, and skill. Some of the best leather goods in the world come from Chinese factories. The problem isn't where the bags are made. It's how brands lie about it. Hermès built its reputation by suggesting European craftsmanship was inherently superior, that Chinese manufacturing was cheap, inferior, disposable. And now the same factories they relied on are exposing that narrative as marketing, not truth. That's why the lawsuits feel desperate. Because Hermès isn't just fighting factories. It's fighting transparency. It's fighting a generation that asks questions. It's fighting the death of blind brand loyalty. And the more they fight, the more attention this story gets. Because once people stop believing the story, the logo alone isn't enough anymore. And that's when luxury becomes just another product, not a dream. By the time this story reaches its final stage, it stops being about one brand and turns into a reckoning for the entire luxury industry. Because what Hermès is facing right now isn't just bad press. It's a collapse of trust. And once trust cracks in luxury, it doesn't come back the same. What makes this moment so dangerous for Hermès is that the truth didn't come from rivals or critics. It came from inside the machine, from the very factories that helped build the empire. These weren't random internet trolls. These were manufacturers who understood the contracts, the supply chains, the loopholes, and finally decided they were done staying quiet. That's why the lawsuits feel so aggressive. Hermès isn't just trying to win in court. They're trying to send a message, a warning. Speak up, and you get crushed. Because if more factories start talking, the damage won't stop at Birkin bags. It'll spread to every brand that's been playing the same labeling game for decades. And that's the part luxury executives are terrified of. Because once consumers realize that made in France often means finished in France, the mystique evaporates. People start asking questions they were never supposed to ask. Who actually made this? Where did the labor happen? Why does this cost as much as a car? And what exactly am I paying for if the materials and construction aren't rare? Those questions are already reshaping buyer behavior. And collectors who once treated Birkins like gold bars are suddenly hesitant. Resellers who bragged about six-figure flips are quietly lowering prices. First-time buyers are pausing, waiting, watching. Because once you see that exclusivity is manufactured through scarcity tactics, not craftsmanship, the spell breaks. And Hermès knows this. That's why they're flooding the internet with carefully staged factory videos, artisans at work, close-ups of stitching, soft lighting, everything designed to re-anchor the fantasy. But for a lot of people, it feels too late. Because once you've seen how the sausage is made, no amount of jazz music and white coats can unring that bell. What's even more damaging is how this scandal reframes the entire China narrative. For years, luxury brands trained consumers to associate China with cheap while quietly outsourcing massive portions of their production there. Now that the truth is public, the hypocrisy is glaring. The issue was never quality. The issue was honesty. Chinese factories weren't the villains. They were the backbone. And now that backbone is standing up. The irony is brutal. The same brands that warned customers against fake bags built their empires by hiding where the real ones came from. The same brands that charged $20,000 for heritage craftsmanship used the same global manufacturing strategies as mid-range labels, just with better storytelling. And storytelling was the real product all along. That's why celebrities and influencers played such a crucial role. A single photo with the right logo kept the illusion alive. People didn't want proof. They wanted aspiration. They wanted to feel chosen, special, elevated. And Hermes mastered that psychology better than anyone. But psychology stops working once people feel fooled. Now consumers are realizing they weren't buying leather. They were buying status permission. And once that realization sets in, the relationship changes permanently. You don't worship a brand that made you feel small for years just to sell you something ordinary. Hermes can win lawsuits, they can silence factories, they can tighten contracts, but they can't erase what people have already learned. Because luxury depends on belief, and belief is fragile. Once it cracks, it never fully seals again. The Birkin will still exist. The logo will still be recognized. But the unquestioned reverence, that's gone for a lot of people. And that's the real crash no one can sue their way out of. So now the question isn't whether Hermes bags are still beautiful. It's whether the story behind them is worth believing anymore. If you're rocking with this breakdown, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe, because this luxury illusion didn't fall overnight, and the fallout is far from over.